it is really hard. And I deal with this every day. And I'll tell you a story where I fell for it.
It's time for Company Profiles with your host, Paul Chase.
I want to take a minute to thank our heroes. As a realtor, I understand the importance of finding the perfect property for our everyday heroes. That's why I'm committed to helping first responders, military personnel, healthcare professionals, and teachers save money on their real estate transactions. I believe in giving back to those who serve our community, and that's why I offer special discounts and services to these heroes. Whether you're looking to buy or sell a home or invest, I'm here to guide you through the process, ensuring you get the great. Whether you're looking to buy or sell or invest, I'm here to guide you through the process, ensuring you get the best deal possible. My goal is to make sure the real estate process is as seamless as possible for our heroes, so they can focus on what truly matters, serving our community. If you're a first responder, military, healthcare professional, or teacher, let me help you save money on our next real estate transaction. Contact me today by reaching out to pa-heroes.com. Good afternoon. This is Company Profiles. I am your host, Paul Chase, and today I'm talking with Chris Snyder from CHS Tech Solutions. Applause, applause, applause. Good afternoon, Chris. How are you?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Hey, it's Monday. It's a great day. And the Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills. So I'm especially excited because I grew up in Kansas City. So, Chris, tell me what is CHS Tech Solutions? What do you do?
Sure. CHS Tech Solutions is a computer consulting company where we specialize in small businesses. So our bread and butter businesses are that 1 to 10, 1 to 15 computer size, where the owner or the person in charge, or the owner of the business is still highly involved, working in the business every day, and is, doing all the stuff that they need to do and don't want to worry about computers.
Gotcha. So let me guess, you woke up one day at the ripe old age of 14, said, when I grow up, I want to be a computer tech nerd.
Not even close. When I woke up on that day of the ripe old age of 14, I wanted to be a chemistry teacher. And it was actually probably 17 or 18, but my girlfriend, future wife, told me that was the dumbest idea she had ever heard of, and I can't stand kids. Why would I want to spend my day with them? So I had to come up with some different plans.
Yeah, it's generally good. I've been married some 35 years or so, and I find out that listening to my wife is usually a pretty smart idea.
Yeah, I mean, I've been married for 20 years, and starting on that day is when I started listening to her, and she's not around, but she might watch this, so I'll still say it was a good decision to listen to her.
Yeah, it generally is. Yeah, happy wife, happy life, and all those cliches. I get it.
Absolutely.
So, Chris, tell me, what do you see as a major threat? I'm thinking that the major threat for that small business where the owner is still very hands-on occupied is opening that email that looks legitimate, is from a trusted vendor, but it's still an unexpected thing, and you really don't know. You're just assuming you know where that link goes because it says click here to get this pay or receive this payment.
Yeah, absolutely. So in small businesses, one of the biggest threats, if not the biggest threat that we have, is that small businesses are run generally on shoestring budgets, right? Small businesses don't have hundreds and thousands of dollars to spend on cybersecurity, to spend on employee training, to spend on all of that kind of stuff. So small businesses are much more susceptible than large businesses to that employee accidentally clicking or unknowingly clicking on a ransomware email, or unknowingly clicking on a phishing email and typing in their username and password. So that can really hurt a small business a lot more than it can hurt a large business. Generally, when you've got large businesses of, I'd say, 50, 75, 100 employees, those guys have cybersecurity insurance. They have their IT budget's a lot larger and can spend a lot more money on that protection and training. But when you're just a single owner operator, or you've got 3 or 4, 5 employees, you're not spending a lot of money on that kind of protection. And it can be devastating to small businesses to lose their data or have that kind of breach happen.
So what is a small business owner to do?
That's a really great question. There's a couple things that play into it, right? So small businesses, like I said, are generally run on lower budgets. And everything in this country is going crazy through the roof. Costs for materials are going up, costs for software, costs for labor, all of that's going up. So we need to find a cost-effective solution for whatever their risks or whatever needs mitigated for them.
And what does that look like?
It can look like a number of different things. There we go. Sorry, my video froze. It can look like a number of different things, including better antivirus. We're moving from antivirus into a product called EDR or XDR, which is endpoint detection and response and extended detection and response. And those pieces of software really start to shut down the computer, shut down a lot more aggressively the different attacks that can come into it. And knowing which vendors and which solutions can sell a cost-effective solution. So something that's $1, $2, $3 a month versus something that is, $60, $70, $80 for the year that you would find in a much larger company, while still being able to provide a really good level of protection for the smaller businesses. Aside from that, we get into backups, even into something that we call continuous backup, where the file is backed up the minute that you save it to your desktop. Databases are backed up the minute that you make changes to them, so that if you do get ransomware or if you do get files deleted, that you're now only missing 5, 10, 15 minutes worth of work versus 24 or 48 hours worth of work versus 24 or 48 hours worth of work that you have to redo.
Gotcha. So I know that you talk a lot about backups. Can we go down that road? Tell me a little bit more. I mean, it sounds simple, but do I need on-site backups? Do I need, is a cloud solution better?
Let me first say this about backups. Backups is one of those things. Everybody needs a backup. If you don't think you need a backup, you need a backup. If you are the guy and these words came out of your mouth, don't worry, it'll never happen to me, or I've been in business for 20 years and it hasn't happened to me yet, that's a big sign you need a backup, because it is going to happen eventually, where a piece of hardware fails or you get ransomware or something happens. We see it on a weekly basis with our clients who decline backup, who say, why should I spend an extra $20, $30, $50, $100 a month when I've been in business for 20 years and I've never had a problem? Well, the harsh reality is, if you lost all of your files today, would you still be able to be in business? And I know for me, if I lost all the files that were on my desktop, I would lose thousands and thousands of dollars in effort to recreate those files, as well as just general client communication and client service kinds of things. So it is a hard thing, especially, here in Lancaster County, where people are more conservative. I've never had this problem. Why do I need to protect against it? It gets really hard. After we move past that into the realm of, okay, now I need backups, then in this specific instance, cloud is 100% the way to go. And the reason for that is it can be fully automated, it can be fully automatic, it's fully disconnected and offsite and remote from you, and it's very, very cost effective these days to protect that data.
Yeah, what about, you mentioned earlier training. So I'm thinking of somebody who, I get them all the time, an email from a service that I know and I use a lot, but it says, hey, so-and-so sent you this document to review and sign. I get that email a lot.
Yep.
But if I don't recognize them, or if I don't recognize, if I'm not expecting that document, then I get a little leery. Am I just super paranoid, or is that, please tell me that I am somewhat sane, because I like to think
You
that
are
I'm
sane.
somewhat.
It is really hard. And I deal with this every day. And I'll tell you a story where I fell for it. So I was having a bad day, right? You know, I'm a business owner. I go into the office and there's fires that need to be put out and people are upset. And I'm sitting there trying to deal with all of this stuff, getting more and more frustrated, as you know, everybody does occasionally. And I got this email in my inbox that said my Office 365 licensing wasn't billed this month because of a credit card problem, and I needed to log in and fix it. I was in a bad mood. I was angry. I logged in, and the minute I logged in, just like that, I said to myself, you idiot, you just fell for a phishing attempt. Now you have to reset all of your passwords across the board. What is wrong with you? And it was just like that. And I do this for a living. It looked 100% legitimate. And the only thing that was different was the login URL was slightly different than Microsoft's normal login URL. So this isn't something that it's like, oh, a dummy, only dummies fall for it, or only people who don't pay attention fall for it, or that. Like, I'm a professional. I've sat through all of this training. I've given these trainings and I fell for it. It's really, really difficult. So you had mentioned about the trainings. We across the board recommend trainings like this for people. There's a number of companies out there that we work with that give online trainings, and it lets people get at least a baseline understanding of what to look for, in the email, how to read the URL, how to make sure the email address is what it, you know, a lot of times you'll see, oh, it's from John Smith, and then it's this email address that's about this long and looks like it's from another country in another language. You're like, that's definitely not John Smith's email address. So, but for people who aren't computer savvy, they don't know to look at that kind of stuff. They don't even know what that means. So a lot of times this training can go in and help them at least get that base level of understanding where they can now look at that and identify a lot more threats.
What are your thoughts about, okay, so I use Loop as a service. If somebody says, hey, here's a .loop, somebody sent you a .loop. Well, instead of clicking on the link, should I maybe like go to my account on independently from another platform, or from that platform? Just skip the email?
Yes. So a lot of times, in a perfect world, yes, that's what we would do. And in a lot of times, we would want to make sure that, you know, you would log into those services and you would manually do it that way. In the world that we live in, that's really just not super realistic. And we try and reserve that for the most secure and most risky situations, specifically banking. You know, you never want to deal with anything over the internet in a banking email. You always want to call or go to their website. Don't want to deal with it with credit cards. You always want to log into the credit card company. PayPal's a big one. We had a client that lost $195,000 in his PayPal account because he tried to log into PayPal through an email instead of going to PayPal and opening the message in PayPal's messaging functions. So I don't want to say do that across the board. I want to say, like, if it's a big thing, if it's financial, if it's banking, if it's that kind of stuff, you definitely should go to the services website and log in not through the email. But to do that for all of them is just not realistic for a lot of people. People are busy. They've got a lot of things going on in their day, and just adding more steps is going to do nothing more than frustrate them. So that's why we recommend the training, and we recommend the software programs to help mitigate that kind of stuff when people do make mistakes.
Gotcha. So how active are we getting our, I guess, our, say, overseas hackers and getting through? Or are we seeing more domestic? Is there any kind of data as to where these are coming from?
So there's a couple of companies out there that put out data, and some of this data is hard to get because It might be a group that is acting out of Russia that wants to make Finland or wants to make the Ukraine look bad. So it's really difficult to tell exactly where a lot of this stuff is coming from. That said, the vast majority of it does happen outside of the country, so outside of America. What we find a lot in small businesses is it's not targeted. Nobody is out there targeting John Smith's business with 5 employees. You know what I mean? They're targeting the big businesses, the state entities, the or multi-million-dollar companies, that kind of stuff. In small business, it's more opportunistic or random, where you just blasted out 10,000 emails and you found one that worked. However, I will say the sophistication of those emails is getting a lot higher. So what people are doing is, let's say we send out 1 million emails and we got responses back on 1,000 of those emails. That people clicked the link and we got their emails. All right, well, what was it about the specific emails? What was it about those specific people? How can we target our next 1 million emails to be more specific and more targeted and more effective? So we take that, we feed it through artificial intelligence, we feed it through learning models, and now all of a sudden we've got a package that maybe affects twice as many people. All right, what worked in that one over the first one? And we do this iteratively over and over and over again until you have something that's highly effective.
Gotcha. So just to play devil's advocate, Chris, I've got a VPN, I've got Norton antivirus, I'm protected, right?
It really depends. It really, really depends. So it's one of the things that we do that CHS Tech Solutions deals with on a daily basis. You got your antivirus, your computer's to date, you got all of this stuff that should protect you, but it isn't 100% effective. So just like there's no such thing as a perfect lock, we can't make a lock that no one can pick. We can't make the perfect system that will block out every single bad actor out there. If your computer is on the internet, it is vulnerable to some degree to someone out there. And it really is just a question of how long does it go and how lucky you are before something happens on your computer. And that really sucks. And that's not what a lot of people want to hear. I mean, people want this easy. We live in the world of CNN and Fox News. We want this quick solution, click this button and it's taken care of. But we just don't live in that world. It's complicated. And all of the things that we talked about are parts of a solution or parts to the solution that's appropriate for a given business. It may be the whole solution. It may not be the whole solution. Every business is different.
And so if nothing else, you've always got that, you should always have that backup to go back to so that you can go back to yesterday. And
yes. And the backup is only as good as the last time you tested it. Like, we deal with companies regularly who say, oh, we've had this backup system for the last 10 years. It's always run every day. We need to restore it. Okay, you've had it for 10 years. Have you ever restored anything off of it before? Well, no, we've never had a problem. Okay, so there's a chance that it's not working, that it never worked, that it doesn't work, and we don't know. So another part of this is testing, verifying that the stuff works. And to go back to the training software, all of those training programs that we work with actually have a testing component. Well, they'll send out test emails that look realistic and look like phishing or ransomware or spam emails to see who falls for them, to see who needs additional training.
Gotcha. Okay.
So that kind of trust but verify kind of mentality.
Gotcha. Chris, if somebody wants to talk to you about how to look, I'm assuming that you'll come in and do some sort of diagnostic or at least some sort of initial consultation.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to take that step, how do they reach you?
Yeah, so you can definitely reach us at our website, chstechsolutions.com. You can give us a call, 717-983-8488. I had to look at my keypad to remember what the number was. Yeah, so reach out, go to our website, give us a call. And typically when we meet with small businesses, we go in, we sit down, we talk to them, And we have really frank, honest conversations with what the likelihood, what's the risk factor, what are their pain points, keeps them up at night, and then how can we address that in a cost-effective solution? Because, you know, I came from big business, I worked at big business, and we have a couple big business clients, but small business doesn't have that kind of budget, doesn't want to spend that kind of money, and we have to have solutions that are effective for small businesses' budgets, and that's where we specialize.
Gotcha. Cool. Chris Snyder, CHS Technology Solutions. Thank you so much.
It was great.